Hello and welcome to the first OmniGraffle video Nibble. OmniGraffle is a very powerful tool, very powerful, but it might look quite complex at the beginning. In this video Nibble we see some basics about the wireframe with OmniGraffle. So page setup, shapes and text. Let's start then. The first window that you are going to see is the template window. Here we usually just choose the blank page and click on New Diagram. Now, we have the basic OmniGraffle window. It's quite simple if you already use some Mac software. So, at the top, we have the toolbar. At the left, we have the various pages that compose the OmniGraffle document. And on the right, we have two windows that are triggered by these two buttons. So we have the stencil window here at the top and the inspector window at the bottom. This stencil window helps us to take pre-made shapes to be reused inside our document. We'll see it in the future. And the inspector windows allows us to change things and objects on the page itself and also about the page itself. Now, in the toolbar there are four basic tools. So the first one is the default one, is the selection tool. Then we have the second one, that is a shape tool. We have a line tool again and a text tool. They are quite self-explanatory, but we're going to see them in this first video. So, when we start OmniGraffle, we want to make some wireframe, probably for a website. So what we need to do is basically change the size of the page to be exactly the size that we're going to use on the website itself. So it's probably be something around 1000 pixels. As we can see, the page here is an A4, so it's not exactly the screen. So what we want to do is basically change the size. Now we use the inspector window for this task. So as you can see, we can fold all the tabs inside the inspector. This is useful, but there is a small trick that is even more useful. You can re-click on a clicked icon to fold it. So as you can see, now we get the same result, but all the options are still visible. That's very useful. Now, what we're going to use is inside the canvas tab, we're going to use the canvas size. So, first of all, the ruler that we're going to use is not in centimeters, it's in pixels. So we change from centimeters to pixels here. And we can, as we can see, the ruler now changed. Second, we need to change the size. Now, one page doesn't look like something that we can change. What is a page? But as you can notice, it doesn't specify just one, but also the unit, page. So what we can do here is specify also the unit of measure that we want to use. In this very specific case, 1000 pixels. Now, two things happened. First, well, it resized everything, but also these two things both changed from pages to points. Why points? Well, basically, OmniGraffle understands pixel, but converts it to point because OmniGraffle is not a bitmap application, it's a vector application. So now we have our page sized correctly. Let's expand the window a bit. There it is. Well, as you can see, we have a line in the middle. This thing really annoys me a lot. It's also helpful sometimes, but usually it just annoys me because it indicates where the page in print stops. Now, we're designing for the web, so we don't really need this one. So we'll just disable it from View and click on Page Breaks, so it disables the display of page breaks. Great! Now we have our blank page ready for wireframing. Let's wireframe something simple, and probably one of the simplest things today on the web is Google's homepage. Now, Google homepage, well, if you had to design it, you'll probably start in thinking how it should behave. Well, since it's a search engine, we'll start drawing the search box where we can type things in. There it is. Now we need a way to click, so to make clear to users that they can now perform an action. So we need a button here that is going to be Google Search. to edit this one, we just double click. Now I'll show you it again. So we can click here. Since we want something exactly identical, we can right click, copy, and paste exactly the same as other programs. Google has this nice feature that is I'm feeling lucky. There it is. Again, if you double click, you can edit the text inside. So we have two boxes. Well, basically now the search functionality is there, but since it's a website, well, we need to add who it is. So let's click on the text here and we type Google. Okay, great. Here it is. And also we're going to have here the bottom, maybe some kind of footer. So footer, copyright, 2011. Great. And we want also to give a way for people to access other pages, other functionalities from Google. So we can again click here on text and prepare the labels at the top. So we have web. Now here's another trick. We can copy and paste, as we've already seen for the buttons, or we can also use another shortcut that is pressing Alt key. So if I press the Alt key, then I can click on anything and drag it. As you can see, from the plus, now it is duplicated. So web, images, and again, Alt key, duplicate. I don't know, for this one could be video, I think. Okay, let's put them together. Okay, Google has two other things that are, let's click again on text, which are advanced search, and also we have language tools here on the side. Now, all the items now are on the page. All the functionalities are there, but there are a few things that doesn't feel right? So, first of all, Google. Well, Google doesn't look like this. We need to change it. So, first thing we do is using the style inspector and the fifth icon that is text. So, clicking on this, we can change a lot of properties about text. So, horizontal alignment, vertical alignment, how does it behave inside its box, and here the most important features, so color and typeface. So let's click on typeface, and then we can choose Times New Roman and make it slightly bigger, 96. There it is. Let's enter this again. So here's the text. Now there is another thing that we can do about text. So these two, for example, needs to be a little smaller. So here's another trick. Instead of going to the text and changing the text itself every time opening the box, that is quite slow, we can use a shortcut. That is Command plus to make it bigger and Command minus to make it smaller. In this case, we want it slightly smaller on the side. Great. And also the two texts into the bottom, we want them a little bigger. So again, Command plus to make them bigger. Here it is. Now, there is another thing that we should do. So these three things doesn't look like what they should look like. So none of them should have a shadow, for example. So we select all of these three things and we click on the shadow inspector. We can change a few things of the shadow, but we're going just to disable it for now. There it is. The text box could be left this way, but the two buttons doesn't really feel like buttons. So we can do two other things. So let's select them again, and we use the line and shape here. When yes, we want a stroke, thickness is right, but we want to change the color to a different tonality of gray, so slightly lighter. There it is, a little better. And another thing, let's select them again. We have also the fill tool. The fill tool allows us to use basically a single color, a fill color here, but also to specify blends. In this case, to make something more similar to buttons, we can choose linear blend from top to bottom. As you can see here, there is the first color, and here the second color. I can turn this around to make changes, but I want this at 90 degrees from top to bottom. And let's make it a little darker. So instead of white, we pick a slightly darker gray. And instead of this gray, probably we take something more lighter here. So not too light. So there it is, more balanced. So what we just did? Well, we changed the text, we changed the shapes, colors, and a few other things, and we put everything into a nice page that looks like the wireframe for the Google homepage. And that's it. I hope it was helpful. Bye!